Hey everybody, Roxanbox90 with the Battle for Zendikar Mythic spoiler. Yes, we have an official Mythic spoiler from the mothership. How sweet is that? I'm super excited to share my thoughts with you, but right before we get to that, just going to let you know, for those who have missed it, we have a foil Jace the Mind Sculptor giveaway. It's been over a month now, so I'm planning to draw this weekend. It only gives you a couple more days to get in on it if you haven't, and I know given that this almost 4,000 views and there's 13,000+ of you, that even just subscriber wise, not everyone's gotten in on this giveaway, so I seriously suggest you go over and do it. I'm really loving all the stories that are being shared so far. You really don't want to miss this opportunity because, come on, it's foil Jace the Mind Sculptor. It's super sweet. In terms of the spoiler, let's jump over to that. Duel decks Zendikar vs Eldrazi. They announced this a little while ago, but now they've finally revealed what it is. So we have two decks, an Eldrazi and an Elemental, which pretty much embodies Zendikar versus the Eldrazi. The left side, the Avenger of Zendikar, is actually a card, if you don't know. It's already been printed. This is just a new artwork. Pretty sweet artwork. I kind of like the original. It's very iconic, almost Lorwynized in terms of the style. This one's a little bit more CGI, so it's a different feel, but it's an alternative. Realize, since this card's already been printed, just because it's in this dual decks does not mean that it's going to be in Battle for Zendikar. I personally think it could very well be, because it's an excellent, super powerful, super synergistic landfall card, and if they actually plan on bringing landfall back in some form or another in the first set, and then possibly just expanding upon it or changing it a bit, like morph to manifest kind of alteration, this card could be a huge win, and it was an awesome card to begin with, and it's getting a little expensive now, especially the foil. But if they're not bringing it back, then it's just another way for people to get hands on a card, which is, last I checked, about $10, and it's a really nice commander card. Super sweet printing here, really like it. That's not a spoiler though, because it's not a new card. The real spoiler is Oblivion Sower. So I really don't know what this rainbow hued around Eldrazi means, but I really love the integration of the artwork into the border of the card. Really sweet. It kind of also gives you the feel that you're peeking out at this massive Eldrazi thundering through a valley. The flavor feel is fantastic. The art is fantastic. The Eldrazi hunger without limit and consume without pause. There you go. That's Eldrazi in a nutshell. Now this isn't quite like other Eldrazi because it's 6 for a 5/8 Eldrazi. No other abilities. No indestructibility, no annihilator, nothing. What does it do? When you cast it, target opponent exiles the top 4 cards of his or her library. Then you may put any number of land cards that the player owns from exile onto the battlefield under your control. This is very interesting. Now, initially my gut reaction was, this card's not that great. Come on, this is a mythic 6 for a 5/8 with no other really useful abilities. Why? It's going to be good in limited. 6 for a 5/8 in limited is fine anyway. Its mechanic is just an extra bonus. You exile 4 cards from a 40-card deck, could potentially get a land or 2 or more from that. It seems decent, really decent in limited. That makes sense as a mythic. But in terms of the mechanic, you have to realize here that it's not just from the 4 cards that you're exiling. It is also the fact that any land cards, I should say, that were owned by the player and put into exile at any point during the game. So this means if you had any other exile land mechanic going on, which in a set where lands are going to probably be a huge, crucial deal, being able to exile those lands and then this card grabbing them all back from exile is a huge ramp swing. And you have to think about it that way also, because we really don't know much about the Eldrazi. The Eldrazi could potentially be very expensive, very big expensive cards, and having a huge, let's say 3 to 5 land boost after playing this guy is really big. Now, he's probably not going to be constructed playable, even so. I really don't see, it would take a lot of other cards to make him work that way. Still, he seems like a very solid card, and I think we'll be surprised. I'm pretty sure the reason he's mythic is much like other mythics we've seen in the last couple of years, where they kind of play around with the exile zone, exile area of the game. They kind of make the mythic just because they don't know how dangerous the card could be, and it's doing something that Wizards doesn't usually like to promote, which is messing around with a zone that's supposed to be, that's it, it's over, and then you're breaking that rule mechanic. I believe they started playing with that a little bit during Future Sight. Going forward, they've tried it here or there, but usually very carefully. if this is an indicator of their consideration of doing it more, it could be very interesting. All in all, I think the card's design is interesting, which is a huge deal for me. I've kind of gotten a little bit bored of the stereotypical, just based on some powerhouse abilities, make a card that's just too good to be rare, so we make it a mythic for the sake of it being mythic. Having a mythic that's kind of pushing boundaries and makes you really wonder if this card, and potentially this card has massive potential. I like that kind of focus of Wizards, and I hope they do it more and probably more successfully with other cards. But regardless, I'm looking forward to seeing how this card plays out in the larger set. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you're new to the channel, then check in and subscribe. As always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.